Did you know that some of the legal ideas in your country might be over 1,500 years old? It's true. Imagine a set of laws so influential they survived the fall of an empire and still shape our world today. This is the story of the Justinian Code, a legal system that refused to disappear. Most things from the 500s are gone, but the core principles of the Justinian Code are still at the heart of many legal systems, especially in Europe and Latin America. It's like finding ancient software still running on a modern computer. To understand this legal superstar, we have to travel back, not to ancient Rome's glory days, but to the Byzantine Empire in 527 AD. There, an ambitious emperor named Justinian set out to conquer chaos itself, not just with armies, but with the power of law. Let's dive in and see how this ancient code became one of history's most enduring creations. So, who was Justinian? Born to a peasant family, he rose to power thanks to his uncle, Emperor Justin. Justinian was smart, ambitious, and tireless, earning the nickname, the Emperor Who Never Slept. He dreamed of restoring Rome's greatness, not just by conquering land, but by unifying culture, religion, and law. Constantinople, his capital, was the largest city in Europe, a hub of trade and culture. Justinian's era saw massive transformation. He built the Hagia Sophia and tried to unify the church. But beneath the surface, the empire faced deep problems, wars, plagues, and most of all, a chaotic legal system. Roman law was a tangled mess, affecting everyone from senators to farmers. Justinian believed a great empire needed great laws, clear, consistent, and divinely approved. He was determined to bring order to the chaos, and he was just the man to make it happen. Why did Justinian create a new legal code? The system he inherited was a disaster. Imagine a library with 1,000 years of books, no catalog, and conflicting rules. That was Roman law. Judges could reach opposite conclusions on the same case, making justice unpredictable and slow. Justinian wanted a single authoritative source for all laws, streamlining government and making justice fairer. His goal was practical, efficient administration, but it was also ideological, preserving Rome's greatest achievement and stamping it with his authority. The new code would be a symbol of his power and a unifying force for the empire. It was a massive spring-cleaning project for the legal system. By creating a definitive body of law, Justinian declared, "We are still Rome, and our justice is perfected." This was about more than rules. It was about legacy. And so, the grand project began. Justinian didn't tackle this alone. He assembled a legal dream team, led by the brilliant Tribonian. Tribonian had encyclopedic knowledge and the organizational skills to match. The team's first task: gather and organize centuries of imperial laws, discarding the obsolete and contradictory. In just over a year, they produced the Codex Justinianus. Next, they tackled the writings of classical Roman jurists. Thousands of books, millions of lines, extracting the most valuable principles. This became the Digest, a monumental anthology of Roman legal wisdom. At the same time, they created the Institutes, a textbook for new law students. These three works, the Codex, Digest, and Institutes, formed the Corpus Juris Civilis, or body of civil law. It was a complete overhaul, creating a rational, organized legal system. The foundation was set for centuries to come. So, what did the Corpus Juris Civilis actually cover? Pretty much everything about living in society. It defined personal status, citizenship, freedom, and even pathways for slaves to gain freedom. Private law was a huge focus: family, marriage, divorce, property, and contracts. The code laid out rules for owning, transferring, and disputing property, principles that still feel modern. It also covered criminal law, defining crimes and prescribing punishments, often harsh by today's standards. The legal process was detailed: how to bring lawsuits, present evidence, and the role of judges. The goal was standardized, written procedures, moving away from arbitrary justice. The code was infused with Christian morality and the absolute authority of the emperor. What has pleased the prince has the force of law. The emperor's will was law. This blend of Roman rules, Christian values, and imperial power created a unique legal document. Its influence would echo through the ages. The Justinian Code became the backbone of countless future legal systems. What made the Justinian Code so special? First, its sheer comprehensiveness. It covered almost every aspect of life. Before the code, law was a confusing patchwork. After, it was a single, accessible system. Second, its logic and reason. Roman jurists defined concepts and used deduction, creating a framework for thinking about justice. This made the code adaptable. Future generations could use its principles to solve new problems. Third, its form, a definitive written text. In a world of unwritten customs, this was revolutionary. The institutes ensured the code could be taught to new generations, spreading its influence. Finally, a twist of fate. The code was rediscovered in 11th century Italy, just as Europe's universities were hungry for knowledge. Scholars seized on it, sparking a legal revolution. The code's timing was perfect. It became the foundation for legal education and reform. Its rational structure and clear rules made it endure long after Justinian's empire faded. The Justinian Code was the right book at the right time. Its rediscovery changed the course of European law. Rediscovering the Justinian Code was like finding a lost superpower. Scholars, especially in Bologna, studied it intensely, treating it as written reason. They trained a new class of lawyers who spread Roman law across Europe. Kings and princes used the code to centralize power and create stable kingdoms. Its principles seeped into local laws and even church law. When nations codified their own laws, they looked to the Corpus Juris Civilis as a model. The Napoleonic Code, created in the 1800s, was heavily inspired by Justinian's work. Napoleon's conquests spread this modern version of Roman law across Europe and beyond. The DNA of the Justinian Code can be found in legal systems from Spain to South America. Its long shadow stretches across the globe. The Justinian Code's legacy isn't just history, it's alive in today's laws. Most of the world's civil law systems are direct descendants of the Justinian Code. France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Switzerland all built their codes on its foundation. The Napoleonic Code shaped laws in Europe and Latin America. Even in the U.S., Louisiana's legal system is based on civil law, not common law, thanks to its French and Spanish roots. The Louisiana Civil Code traces directly back to Justinian's work. Even common law countries absorbed Roman legal ideas, especially in contracts and property. The influence of Roman law is woven into the fabric of Western legal tradition. Justinian's project created a legal language spoken around the world. Its principles still guide how we think about justice and rights. The story of the Justinian Code reminds us that the past is never truly past. Justinian's dream of a restored empire faded, but his legal code achieved immortality. Created in a Greek-speaking Christian empire, lost and rediscovered, adapted and revolutionized, it now forms the backbone of dozens of legal systems. Concepts like good faith, negligence, and contract are part of its legacy. The code shows the power of imposing order on chaos. Its influence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet work of scholars, teachers, and lawyers. Justinian's project still shapes how societies balance individual rights and community needs. The conversation about justice that began with Justinian continues today. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe for more explorations of how history shapes our world.